Blindside and Tripwire's ShaRkPG Maneater is here, and it brings with it the promise of pure, ridiculous fun as you evolve from vulnerable pup to king of the seas and chomp away at everything in your sight. There's a lot to do in Maneater, and as you embark on your quest to wreak complete havoc in water and on land, these handy tips and tricks should help you out with some basic beginner stuff. So without further ado, let's dive in. Causing havoc. One of the most alluring aspects of Maneater is being able to unleash devastation on humans as a shark, as you eat unexpected people, destroy boats and yachts, and just make yourself an absolute nuisance. There are consequences to those actions, of course, with bounty hunters tracking you down if you cause too much trouble. But that's not as much of a deterrent as you might think. There are plenty of named bounty hunters in Maneater, and once you've caused enough trouble in the game's open world, these bounty hunters will be alerted to your presence. Keep working toward making sure that happens, because killing these bounty hunters yields some very impressive upgrades that can really help you out as you progress through the game. Killing hunters. Killing hunters is easier said than done. Bounty hunters can come at you with everything they've got, and though a few of them can be pretty easy to take down, the more chaos you unleash, the more intent that they become on taking you down. But there's a few tricks that you can keep in mind to deal with them in such situations. For starters, keep eating hunters that get injured and fall into the sea, because that replenishes your health. Often they'll come at you in several boats, so make sure that you don't focus on any single boat in particular, because if you do that, the other ones can easily overwhelm you, so keep switching your targets. Finally, if you ever feel like a fight isn't going your way, you can simply head deeper underwater or into the sewers, wait for the hunters to lose track of you, and come back up to take them on with renewed vigor. Chomp away. You're playing as a shark in Maneater, so obviously you're going to be eating a lot of prey throughout the entire game. In fact, you should do that as much as possible. Any small fish that you come across while getting from place to place, humans that might be walking about on the shoreline, hunters that might fall into the water, or other larger fish that you take on in combat, chomp everything you see. Not only does it replenish your health, it's also the primary means of collecting nutrients, which are crucial for your progression in the game. Spam the dodge. There is no stamina bar to worry about in Maneater, which means that when it comes to combat, you don't have any restrictions placed on movement. And the one move you should be constantly making use of is your dodge. Often some other dangerous aquatic animals you fight can be very fast with their attacks, and too many bounty hunters in large numbers can also overwhelm you quite easily, so dodging attacks is key. Especially during the early hours of the game when your shark isn't too strong and formidable. Dodging will come in handy in encounters against some of the more dangerous predators in the game's world. Evolutions. There's a surprisingly deep progression system in Maneater, which tracks since it's an RPG, and one of the most important ways to make your shark stronger is through evolutions. From giving you bonus damage to passive buffs and various other advantages, there's a lot of options at your disposal, which means that you can mix and match these evolutions to suit your own playstyle. Different combinations can allow you to tackle different situations in different ways, so rather than sticking with just a few evolutions that you might like, try experimenting with them. Sonar. One of the most useful abilities in the entire game is Sonar, which is basically detective vision for your shark. Have that equipped anytime you're exploring, because it can mark enemies, chests, mineral caches, and various other points of interest in the world, making tracking them down that much easier. Also make sure you invest in upgrading your sonar, because advanced sonar can be incredibly useful. Organ upgrades. Like any RPG, you'll be giving a lot of thought in Maneater to which upgrades you should get first, and which ones you should invest in more. And though most of those decisions will boil down to your preferred playstyle, we'd recommend definitely investing in a few of them. The amphibious upgrade, which allows you to survive longer and move faster on land, can be quite useful for when you're trying to take shortcuts or just want more time to chomp on humans or destroy property. While mineral digestion increases how much health and minerals you get from eating enemies. Reinforced cartilage increases your resistance to damage, and there's advanced sonar, of course, which we've already spoken of. Exploration. Maneater's world isn't massive the way most open worlds seem to be nowadays, but there's still a lot to see. However, there's also plenty of areas that are initially blocked off, so when it comes to exploring the open world and undertaking optional activities and tracking down all the collectibles, make sure you keep coming back to even the older areas in the game. As your shark becomes more powerful and gains new abilities, you'll be able to get to new areas, even in locations from earlier on in the game. So just keep in mind that exploration will yield the most rewards when you're also backtracking. Nutrient caches. While you're exploring the open world, one resource in particular you'll want to keep an eye out for is nutrient caches. Not only do they help you level up significantly faster, they drop plenty of other useful resources too. Each area of the open world has caches to find, and the best way to track them down is by using your sonar, which we spoke of earlier. So once you've got access to sonar, especially if it's upgraded, make sure you use it as much as possible while you're simply swimming around. Landmarks. How much mileage you get out of tracking down all the collectibles in Maneater's open world will vary depending on how much of a completionist you are, or how much fun you're having playing the game of course. But when it comes to pure utility, definitely prioritize the landmarks above all else. While license plates and chests are by no means useless, landmarks net you with some pretty sweet evolutions and upgrades, so always keep an eye out for landmarks while exploring the open world. And that wraps it up. If you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing to our channel. We upload new videos daily, so make sure you don't miss them by subscribing. We appreciate your support, and we thank you for checking us out.